It is 11 p.m. in an isolated Indian village. A severe rainstorm has blurred the horizon, leaving only the jagged silhouette of an ancient stone Haveli visible against the lightning. Ravi is a man who relies on what he can see and measure. As he walks past the mansion's gates, he ignores the local rumors of hauntings, dismissing them as the products of overactive imaginations and village folklore. That skepticism is immediately challenged. As he passes the entrance, the massive, rusted doors move. Without a hand touching them, they creak inward, revealing a hallway of absolute shadow. Ravi pauses. His pulse quickens, but he forces himself to step inside. He tells himself it's just the wind or a faulty hinge. He needs to prove to himself there is a logical explanation for what he just saw. But entering an environment like this without a clear objective creates a dangerous psychological opening. Without a mission to focus on, the mind is left with nothing to do but scan for threats, leaving its survival instincts wide open to interpretation. The environment immediately begins to feed those instincts. On the decaying stone walls, Ravi sees a sight his logic can't reconcile: wet, fresh red bloodstains pooling as if they were just placed there. Then the silence is broken. A child's voice, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once, whispers a chilling invitation to play in the dark. A sudden, icy draft hits Ravi's neck. It isn't a random gust. It pulses with a steady rhythm, mimicking the sensation of someone standing inches away, breathing on his skin. At this exact moment, the brain's analytical centers shut down. Biological survival takes over, and Ravi, stripped of his logic, turns and flees the mansion in a state of pure, unadulterated panic. This sequence is a textbook map of self-preservation. When the mind encounters an unknown threat without a higher purpose to anchor it, the path leads directly from fear to retreat. But Ravi's experience doesn't end at the gates. Just outside, he finds a new variable: a small child sobbing in the rain. This encounter shifts the internal calculation from journey A to journey B. The boy's father is missing. He followed a path into the heart of the Haveli and never returned, leaving the child alone and desperate for help. Ravi is now standing between two powerful forces. The visceral terror of the mansion is still fresh in his nervous system, but it is now being weighed against a direct human need that he cannot ignore. This is the moment the internal hierarchy shifts. The drive to protect another becomes stronger than the impulse to protect himself. Ravi takes the child's hand and walks back toward the very thing that just broke him. Courage isn't the absence of that racing pulse or the cold sweat. It is the decision that something else matters more than the fear. The two re-enter the mansion. Physically, the space hasn't changed, but because Ravi is now focused on a rescue rather than his own safety, his psychological posture has radically shifted from victim to protector. As they reach the center of the house, the mental friction of Ravi's resolve seems to snap the atmospheric tension. The oppressive gloom is suddenly severed by a blinding flash of light that strips the supernatural weight from the room. In the center of the light, they find the father. He is alive, but immobilized, caught in a deep trance-like state, as if the mansion's atmosphere have physically pinned him in place. Together, Ravi and the boy reach out. By focusing their shared intent on bringing the father back, they break the mental hold of the trance and pull him back into the present moment. When a person confronts a threat with a shared actionable goal, they stop being a passive recipient of fear. The act of doing something changes the nature of the environment itself. By dawn, the storm has passed. The three of them walk back into the village under a clear sky, the Haveli sitting quietly behind them in the morning sun. The news of the rescue spreads quickly. The villagers, who once spoke of the mansion only in hushed, fearful tones, now gather around Ravi to hear how he faced the dark and won. This single act changes the village's relationship with the property. The Haveli is no longer a site of isolated terror. The myth of its power has been dismantled by the simple fact that someone went in and came back out. One person's decision to act can serve as a catalyst for an entire community, neutralizing a fear that had been shared for generations. If we compare Ravi's two entries into the mansion, we see two very different results from the same set of stairs and stones. The data shows a clear divergence. When driven by aimless curiosity and isolation, the result was panic. But when Nat was replaced by altruism and a shared purpose, the result was triumph. This suggests that the perceived power of the haunting relied heavily on Ravi's status as a passive observer. When he shifted into an active role, the environment lost its ability to control his narrative. The mechanism of rescue required a physical reversal, turning around to face the source of the dread, which provided the psychological leverage needed to overcome it. In the end, the dark only feels absolute when we refuse to move through it. When confronted with resolute action, the shadows don't just fade, they dissipate.